Welcome back to the Better Lives podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin.
And I'm Eric.
With summer in full swing, chances are you have some travel coming up. And if you haven't finished planning, we wanted to share some tips to make your vacation planning go more smoothly. If you love to travel but dread the cost, that's totally valid, and we're here to help you plan guilt-free fun with some easy tips to make your budget go a little further.
Yeah, definitely want to start out with a budget and planning. That's one big thing I'm not usually good at. I usually just I need to go on a vacation, and then I find if I have time, and then I just kind of put something together last minute. And yeah, I usually end up regretting it because it ends up costing twice as much as I didn't plan for because I didn't plan it. So Caitlin here's going to give us some ways to budget. Yeah,
so here at Central Willamette Credit Union, we understand that when you're working on improving your financial future, you still have to factor in fun. So we want to make sure that you feel prepared to go on your vacation but not feel regretful on how much you spent afterwards.
Yes, the big thing is you want to have fun but never regret those experiences. So planning ahead definitely helps mitigate that. And again, some different ways to do that would be setting up a separate savings account. What I like to do a lot of times is have a separate savings account for my primary. I know at Central Willamette we have a rainy day savings fund, which doesn't necessarily have to be used for rainy days. It can actually be used for just a secondary savings from your normal. So if you want to have, say, plan for a vacation, you just want to put $100 a month aside, you can put it in your rainy day savings, which stays separate from your actual savings, and just kind of ignore it and then just let it stock up. And I always have a separate account where I store cash in there and just kind of just forget about it. And then once a year I check into it to see what I have. And that's where I overspend my vacations because I didn't plan for them, but at least I somewhat budgeted a little bit for it.
Yeah, setting aside that money makes a big difference. And the first step is obviously starting with a budget. So you're going to decide ahead of time not only what you can afford to spend, but what you're comfortable spending, right? So let's say you have $10,000 in your savings account. You could go plan a 10 grand vacation, or you could be like, hey, I have kids back to school coming up. We want to go on a Christmas trip. Maybe I shouldn't spend that whole 10 grand.
But that'd be such a fun trip to do, though.
Trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, exactly. It's trip of a lifetime, but then it just causes more problems down the road. Definitely do not do that to yourself. So yeah, plan ahead for those expenses down the road. You worked really hard for that $10,000 in savings. Utilize it the best way possible by planning.
Most Americans go on one trip a year, so it takes some time to save up. So making sure that you are comfortable with what you are spending is really important.
Yeah. So yeah, again, my recommendation is just having a different account. Again, I talked about the rainy day savings, but there's plenty of different options out there. Try to find one with a high APY. APY actually give you money on the money that you invest, the money that you're saving in those accounts. So anything with a higher APY would definitely help push that money and actually save a little bit faster.
So a budget is super key to prevent overspending, but also to give you a clear savings target. So we're talking about different accounts you could use. You don't know how much you need to save until you factor in your costs of your vacation. And so what to factor in? Flights and hotels might be the super obvious ones, but there are other expenses that do come up. Rental cars, tolls, parking fees, any attractions you want to do on your vacations, those things can be pretty spendy.
And food. Food is always one. I just never, I think totally. I feel like I tend to be pretty good about picking up a lot of these things. Sometimes forget the tolls and the parking because it's just minor stuff that kind of day-to-day charges anyway. But the food, I always just either underestimate how much I eat apparently or just never really plan for that at all. But always plan for food. Try to pack when you can. That's the best. It's getting a cooler, nice hefty cooler that keeps everything cool, and then save some money there. Save some money on food and spend on entertainment.
You can even find hotels that have a kitchenette. That way you're not having to get every meal out. You can actually make some things in your hotel room.
The free continental
That's
breakfast. True. I've been noticing. I just figured that's just kind of the case. But when you're closer to resort areas like Disneyland, say, they don't usually have breakfast included. So always try to find those as well. Or be sure to check before you go if that's important as well.
It can save you so much money just saving on breakfast.
And I'm all about scoring deals. So, I mean, that's another thing, too, is when you're planning for these, being strategic about where you book, just stretching those dollars. There's a lot of value in booking early, but also sometimes you can book last minute. So if it's just you and one other person, or if time allows for it, booking last minute actually sometimes saves some cash, because these places would rather sell it at a discounted rate and have someone stay there than let them go vacant. Because 60% of something is better than 100% of nothing. That's the approach they take. So a lot of comparison sites like Kayak and Expedia, you can find some really good deals. Airbnb also, I know it tends to be a little spendier, but you can always split those costs with other people. And then also just using rewards from your cards. Like, for example, Central Limit has our signature reward card. Every dollar you spend, you get points back on that, and you can redeem those for travel and gift cards or cash back. And you can use that to help cover some of the costs of your trip.
And then back to the Airbnb point, if you are going with a big group, so we actually did a trip to Disneyland 2 years ago, and we looked at hotel costs, and we need to have about 4 rooms for all of us that went. So instead, we booked an Airbnb, a whole house down in Southern California, and we saved tons of money just by splitting that cost rather than booking several rooms at a hotel.
Traveling in groups is a great way to save money because, again, you don't have to get the one room per person. You can actually just split a larger accommodation, such as an Airbnb. And plus, you just get to create memories with friends and family. So who doesn't like traveling in a big group?
Yeah. And we actually had a full kitchen there. So we were able to go to the Walmart
You're
and
all about
get
the
groceries.
full kitchen. Yeah.
It saves you so much money.
It
We
does.
made meals, not all of them, of course.
Yeah.
Got to have that experience. So getting your little Mickey-shaped pretzel.
I've been really bad about cooking at home lately. So, yes, now that I've been seeing the account this last week, I'm like, maybe I should start eating at home again instead of eating out.
You should go through your bank statements and circle all of your food purchases.
I don't want to do that, Caitlin.
It's painful.
I don't want to come to terms with my reality right now. Maybe tomorrow. That's future Eric's problem.
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
So while you're packing, you can even save some money just by packing smartly. So try using an itemized packing list. That way you're not forgetting things like those toiletries, deodorant, toothbrush, because those are super expensive at those destinations.
Oh my God, just make a list in general. This is another thing I am just awful at. I'll just put a bag on the floor and just throw clothes in it, and I end up either overpacking. I'll have like 57 socks for some reason, and then like no toothbrush because I forgot.
Yeah,
my
I
checklist.
always overpack. Like I always say, I don't know what I'm going to want to wear, in a week. And so I'll just bring so many outfits. So I have so many
maybe
options.
I'll wear this. That's another
I could wear this. I'll bring it just because I might wear it.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely do that. I don't know what it is about me and packing, but for some reason, I always end up I always call them gas station sweatshirts is when I go to the coast or when I go somewhere that I'm expecting it to be warm and I didn't pack correctly and I forgot a hoodie. So I end up buying the cheapest one I can find and I'll never wear it again except for that one trip. And I usually pick them up at a gas station or convenience store because I just have to. And they end up costing more than if I just would have brought my own or bought one that I actually liked.
And they're probably not very good quality either.
No, usually not. And just have some random saying on them from the town. But that's fine.
Yeah. Lifeguard.
Fun.
Those lifeguard hoodies.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to not be like Eric, you could pack clothes that can be mix and match. So let's say you bring 5 shirts and 5 pants, but they could all kind of go together in different ways. You can also look for a hotel that has a washer and dryer that you can use, and you can pack even less clothes so that you can wash them throughout the week. So.
Yeah, definitely. Longer extended stays, just pack a little less and be able to wash and stuff. I never even think about that again. I just overpack and just come back with messy, dirty clothes. I'm like, why didn't I just wash them while I was there?
Well, then you also come back with a bunch of, knickknacks you didn't really need, and then your suitcase is so full that it's heavier than it was,
I haven't heard knickknacks for so long. That's like a 1900s word.
I love
like
the
it.
word
Bring it back.
knickknacks.
You weren't even born then. How do you even know
No.
that word? Grandparents.
Did you ever watch Pixar? There's like this little short called Knick-Knack, and it was like this snowman in like a what's it called? Those things you shake and it's like a snow globe. Yeah. And it's called Knick-Knack.
That's awesome. That's how you know what that is.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, another thing too, this isn't really silly, but bring a water bottle, a reusable water bottle. I know that sounds silly, but like with water costing like $3 and then you get it in the plastic little little plastic container. It's best just to bring one of your own reusable water bottles, so you're not wasting plastic, as well as spending $3 to $5 just for some water when you can just fill up anywhere.
I saw water for $7 at Disneyland.
I don't even. Yeah, you said Disneyland. I do believe you. Never mind.
Yeah.
I take that statement back.
And then also snacks and drinks. So if you're going on, especially for a road trip, pack a cooler full of snacks and sandwiches or whatever it is. That way you could just pass a snack back to your kid in the back seat rather than stopping at McDonald's.
For those long trips, definitely always have somewhat of a cooler to bring.
Oh, yeah. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, road trip snacks are the best, and they're better cold. Just back to road trips. One thing I didn't even think about, I was like, I just went on a vacation recently, and I rented a car through Turo. Oh. So Turo was actually, it's like Airbnb for your car, they say. So you just rent it from a person. I rented a car from someone in Turner, Oregon. It only cost me like $400 for 10 days. And I drove this thing 2,000 miles. So
I bet they were thrilled.
Oh, they're probably really thrilled about that. But, that's what you get when you rent your car out. But it was just a way to kind of save maintenance on my own car, and like I didn't have to spend as much. I think that same equivalent car would have cost me $600 or $700 through a conventional, car rental place.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
No, definitely not. So yeah, definitely just check around and see where you can save money on any of these extra sites. There's something for everything.
And then while you're on your vacation, I know it's fun to go all the touristy spots, but they can be pretty expensive. So try to find some free local activities. Most major cities will have a tourism site online that you can look at, and they'll list all their activities going on. So just try to balance those costly activities with the free ones.
Yeah, TripAdvisor is usually pretty good about what's local. Your site could be updated, but you can usually find something interesting about, at least pictures of different sites and stuff from the area, so you can take a look at it before you go visit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you can share with us about vacationing?
That you should do it. I know that when you are trying to save money, it might not seem as important, but taking time for yourself and for your family just to have some fun is important, even if it's just like a camping trip or just a weekend beach trip.
Yeah, especially here in Oregon. We live in a beautiful state, so definitely check it out. Go out and get lost a few times and just explore when you can.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Remember, it is possible to save money while planning a vacation of your family's dreams.
And planning is key.
Definitely plan. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Central WCU, and check out our website. You can send in any feedback you might have for us. And join us next time so we can keep building better lives together.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
The information provided here is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any financial decisions.